Ladies and gentlemen, what is up, and welcome to today's episode of Champion of the Day, where we're going to be talking about a bit of a controversial champion in Marvel Contest of Champions, and that is Loki. So, Loki is this weekend's basic champion in Arena, and I know a lot of people are going to be getting this character and want kind of thoughts on how he can be used in the game effectively. So we're going to talk about the character and what attributes he has and kind of what he may be useful for. So the first thing about Loki, in terms of his stats, in terms of health and damage, they are both really, really low. He doesn't have much health, he's a bit of a squishy champion, and then also in terms of damage, he has a very, very low damage output. We often use the phrase on the channel, wet noodle, to describe Loki. However, the kind of big pro, the reason that so many people love Loki, is that he does have a very, very accessible buff steal ability, which is chained into his level 1, so whenever he uses a level 1, he steals all of the opponent's buffs, and these stolen buffs on Loki via this method will last for 4.5 seconds. There is a second buff steal, which is also tied in with a curse, on his special attack free. So on a special attack free, Loki will curse the opponent, dealing 94% of his attack as energy damage, and allowing him to steal any of the opponent's buffs for 6.2 seconds, and any stolen buffs last for 7 seconds. So that's all intertwined with the curse debuff, and you can refresh this by either using the special one, you got a 65% chance to reset the duration via that way, or via using a heavy attack, you have a 100% chance to refresh it as well. So it can be quite powerful in some scenarios to, preemptively steal any of the buffs that come onto the opponent will come onto your Loki instead. And that's quite good and situationally quite useful. It's very fun when fighting opponents like Groot and Old Man Logan if you can keep it going. However, it suffers from like two problems, and that's that the curse is a very, very short duration at 6.2 seconds, and I believe that goes up to maybe 7 seconds when you've got the character fully maxed out. And it's a little bit difficult in that window of time to reliably get a parry off and then heavy attack, because, after using a special free, there's a little bit of fight disorientation, so it's difficult to get the enemy to instantly charge into you, parry, and then use that heavy attack. And to, reliably refresh it via heavy, that's what you need. However, if the character is duped or, awakened, his duped abilities, he quickly builds up to the first level of power. He kind of has a Doctor Strange power passive game, just to the first level of power though, so there's a way that you can possibly do it via there. However, I think if the special attack free, the curse, was somewhere between like 12 and 15 seconds, this character might be quite a bit better. It might be quite a bit better, but the fact that it's so short, it makes it, in practicality, quite difficult to reliably keep on resetting the curse after the special attack free. But if you're lucky, if you got it against a really aggressive AI, it is entirely possible. So that's one of the potential perks of the champion, and something to bear in mind for future content. That's a very, very powerful way to preemptively nullify any abilities on the opponent. So in Act 5, Loki might have some sort of potential use in the fight. However, in the current state of the game at the moment, 3 champions really, well, I'd say 4 champions are better in most scenarios, and that's Scarlet Witch. She just, is an absolute nullify machine, plus she's regenerating, she's dealing so much more damage, she has this power lock, this stun that's just triggering constantly. You also have Magic, who is exceptional nullifying with her level 3, and for every buff on the opponent will deal additional damage, and also, has the power lock on the level 2, so she's an additional use offensively for that. And Magic, at the moment, with Mystic Dispersion, is by far one of the best defenders in the game. With her Limbo State, she's so incredibly powerful. You also have Guillotine, who can reverse the healing on opponents, and for a fight like Realm of Legends Wolverine is just so incredibly good and so powerful. And then you have Doctor Strange, who is constantly nullifying. Champions like Mordo, who have a magic type ability with their level 2. He has Soul Bulb, so for every buff on the opponent, that's going to deal a huge amount of additional damage. And then Dr. Voodoo as well. So the main thing that Loki suffers from at the moment is there aren't really any scenarios where he's the best Mystic champion to deal with it. Occasionally, like against a Groot or an Old Man Logan, he's a really, really fun novelty champion to play because you can just sap all of the buffs and apply them to your Loki, and he's going to be dealing like a ridiculous amount of damage. But overall in the spectrum of the game, because Mystic is such a powerful and strong class, by comparison, like Loki's a little bit weak. He's a little bit lacking in terms of the stuff that he can do, because that's kind of like his main thing, like his only thing. He also has a couple of other stuff which we'll quickly talk about. So while the opponent is cursed, you have a chance to stun for 1 second. You know, with what is it? The increased stun duration mastery that goes up to 1.5. Not too bad. And then the other thing is special attack 2. If Loki has more health points than his opponent, so that's actual points and not percentage based, he has a 100% chance of subtracting 5.4% of their max health instantly. That seems quite impressive on paper, but it doesn't deal much damage as it is, so it's a little bit more damage there. And again, Loki doesn't have very much health, so that's only going to come when pretty much most of the fights are already over. And special attack 2 is unblockable, which maybe for a newer player you might be like, oh, that's pretty good, but if you're playing it like endgame and you can reliably get off all your special attacks anyway, then it isn't really much of a concern there at all. But there may be some scenarios, like maybe against a Mordo, where that might be a little bit useful. But again, when you look at the other Mystic champions, there are more effective options in like pretty much every scenario the opponent. However, with a special attack 3, you know, with new champions that come, that might be eventually useful. That might be quite good. So that's it for his abilities. I mean, he really does not have like a huge amount going for him, and that's kind of the very weak part of Loki. However, he's quite a cool character, quite fun to play. One of the pros of this champion as well is he's currently the second highest Mystic prestige character behind Mordo, so he's got really decent prestige. However, you know, if you're looking to recently acquire one of the champions and take them all the way up to 550, you're probably better off waiting for the Mordo arena, because we know that Mordo is an exceptional Alliance War defender. He's the best champion to place on a Thorns node. Plus, he's a little bit cooler. Can do some more stuff like regen as level 3. So out of the two characters, Loki or Mordo, if I was going to take one to 550 for prestige, it would always be the Mordo in my opinion. But, you know, he's really strong for that. I think he's currently ranking, like, I think it's 6th or 7th at the time of this video, but it's likely that Dormammu is going to surpass both Loki or Mordo. But we're going to have to see. We're going to have to wait till Dormammu's prestige comes out next week. So it might be bumped down a little bit more by that character as well. There are just so many insane Mystic champions. And at the heart of it, that is one of the biggest problems about Loki, is that the Mystic class is so strong, and a champion that's just kind of like, you know, slightly above average just isn't good enough in this class where you have like all these crazy ridiculous champions. Now in terms of, we pretty much covered it for his abilities, his strengths and weaknesses, so we'll go into his synergies, and then we'll do a little bit of Loki gameplay. Let's do some fun duels, see if we can, you know, take advantage of the buff steal a little bit. So has crit with Hulk, has a little bit of health with Thor there, and also has an interesting synergy as well called Masterminds with Magneto, which increases energy damage once a combo of 15 or more hits is reached. So potentially with like a 3-star, 4-star, maybe even 5-star Loki, this could be a crazy synergy in the future. If there's any fight that, you know, you need like a lot of energy damage from, you know, to utilize maybe a Magneto or a Doctor Strange, could work in that way. Who knows what's going to happen in the future, but that's something interesting to bear in mind. Doesn't have any like best in slot uses at the moment, but you know, maybe in the future might beef up your Magneto or your Doctor Strange a little bit more. So let's go. We've covered it all for Loki in terms of the abilities and his strengths and weaknesses. Bit of a wet noodle. Now it's time to test him out in action against, let's find somebody quite fun with buffs. Who has some interesting buffs that we might be able to steal. Just kind of looking down the list. That's also one of the problems with Loki, is not many characters, like a good like 80% of characters in the game don't really have like worthwhile buffs to steal. This Phoenix matchup, however, should be fairly decent, because she's going to get a lot of stacks of Fury, so we can just consistently steal them, and that should be fairly fun. So let's just find the Loki. I do love Loki so much in the MCU universe, though. I just wish he was a bit more of a badass character. But hopefully you should see what I mean in this matchup about the wet noodle. However, we do have a class advantage here, and it still isn't a huge amount of damage for a 330. Just see if we can play well. Realize this is almost my first match of the day, I believe. See if we can steal a couple of stacks of that Fury. So we've got this. If the buffs were permanent as well, that'd be pretty good. Right, let's let Phoenix use that. And we're gonna go to the level 3 on this, because we should be able to get a really decent amount of buffs from Phoenix. From our Cursed State. And also, what is it? Take any future Fury that comes. So maybe against like a really stacked Phoenix. I don't know. There are some ways you could play Loki. He'd be pretty good. Just look at that. Oh, look at this. 10 stacks. Oh, instantly to level 3. Oh, yeah, we got Mystic Dispersion. That's why. Just instantly sap that again. Wasn't too bad. Wasn't too bad. There we go. She's down. But, yeah, you can see in certain scenarios how he can be an interesting champion. But in a scenario like that, Magic, you know, would have just absolutely Tyrannosaurus wrecked the Loki, the Phoenix as soon as she got to 10 stacks. Like, that level 3 would have been deadly. So in that scenario, let's fight a Black Panther Civil War. So what we're going to try and do here is steal all of the armor up buffs. I don't know if it's going to be possible, but we should hopefully, with Mystic Dispersion, because our Loki isn't duped at the moment, maybe be able to get to this scenario where we're just in a 5 combo and then sapping with the special 1. I'm pretty jealous of this 5-star Black Panther Civil War. I mean, it's a pretty badass champion to have as a 5-star. Let's fire for level 1 there. So we got the armor up buffs ourselves. Let's fire off another level 1. So no armor up that time, but ain't too bad. I can see how in a matchup like this you can get into quite a nice rotation of just continually, you know, using the level 1s to absolutely wreck him. However, we got a little bit unlucky with the timing there. Ah, no, we went to level 2 here. Right, do we want to try and get to level 3 in a matchup like this? I don't know if that would be necessarily the better option. That was quite a good opportunity to use a level 1, so I did not want to squander that one there. Right, if we just chill for a second and knock back, we should be able to get this level 3 off. See what I mean about like the wet noodle when he doesn't have you know Fury stacks to steal? Oh no! We went past the level 1. I was so sure we were gonna land that. It's a little bit unfortunate. What? Did he not stun reflect there? Okay, that was pretty bad. We got wrecked. That was me playing quite awfully there though. But as you can see, we did 82 hits on that Civil War Black Panther and still didn't manage to take him down. I just want to see like how much health he has. I don't think it'll be much over 20. It might be a little bit over 20,000. But just on a hit-by-hit basis, that's one of the big disadvantages of Loki, is he just isn't really kind of bringing anything to the table damage-wise. It's a really impressive Civil War Black Panther. Damn. Okay, so at about 27,000 health. It's still pretty bad. It's still pretty bad damage output. Trying to gloss it up there. Right, so let's have a look as well. Let's go for an Iron Man. Let's do one last duel against an Iron Man, so we can hopefully try and get quite a good timing on the Arc Overload there. This is one of the things about Loki, is he's a really fun novelty champion to play. Like, really fun for duels like this, especially if we can pull off a decent kind of Arc Overload ninja here. I think if we use the level 3 to guarantee that we're going to steal it, then that'll be pretty good. Just need to get to that point first. I believe, though. I believe in the power of Loki right now. Should have probably used a heavy attack there when we had the opportunity, but alas, we did not. Just trying to get good timing on that. Let's fire for level 2. And we should be able to build up to a level 3, and if think that should seal the fight. I'm not too sure. I think we need to do another round of combos just to be quite safe here. I'm worried that we're gonna like use the level. I think that's pretty much it. We're on the teat of Arc Overload here. So did we counter the Arc Overload? We didn't seem to get the regen there. Just gonna fire that off as well, just to buff steal. Yeah, I'm not too sure why we didn't get the regen. Ah, maybe we just need to, like, sap it with a level 1 next time. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video on Loki and got a bit more information and a bit of my perspective on him. Fun novelty champion, just not, like, super useful in comparison to some of the other Mystic champions. So if you did enjoy this video, ladies and gents, feel free to leave a thumbs up. That'd be greatly appreciated. Apart from that, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and have an absolutely fantastic day.